Good morning, everybody. What's going on? Pouring myself another cup of coffee. So it is still pretty early. My phone is flying off the hook this morning. So it's a little after 6 right now, but I've been up since about 4:30, and I'm here in my dad's shop. I don't know if you guys know this, but my dad is a full-time taxidermist up in Vermont, and I'm back here for a little while. I got some business stuff I'm going to help him with. We have some tree jobs to do. We have clients to see. We have websites and tons of stuff to do. But it's being here and seeing all of this, and I had time this morning. My dad's still asleep. He's been working really hard. Hopefully, I'll be able to get him in one of these videos pretty quick, and you guys can meet my dad. I was kind of sitting here doing a little reminiscing while I was working, and I was like, wow, this is kind of where it all started 3 or 4 years ago. And I got thinking about the things that really, what were the things that really set me up, and what were the things that really kind of changed my whole life from, being in 9 to 5 or working construction, doing all that, to all of a sudden running 2 companies with a third on the way, and, having, no time, going from no time to no time, but in a different way. And I was thinking about those 4 things, and today I want to give those to you and kind of fill you in on some of the things, and hopefully give you some ideas and some a little bit of trajectory and some places you might want to check out and things you might want to see. One of the things that changed my life drastically was getting a journal. And I don't mean getting a journal in the sense of like getting a diary, but this is my journal. And this is where I keep all of my goals, all of my ideas, my thoughts, experiences, stuff like that. And like what's going on with the business? What do I want to do? What do I want to see? What do I want to be? What do I want to have? What do I want to give for others? What do I want to give for my family? What do I want to, what do I want to make an impact on? What I want to do? Setting goals was one of the things that, kind of came with this. Having a journal and doing that was like, hey, well now how valuable is this? I get to go back and relive all the experiences. I get to see like the sharpening company. I can get to go back and see when that was just an idea in a page, and now I can turn around and see how it grew. I can see how the business is expanding every single day, and it's like it kind of humbles you a little bit as well. But you also get to go back and relive, and all the things that are really good ideas, you store them inside this don't trust your memory. When you hear something good and you find something that works, you put it in here so you don't have to spend your energy trying to recall it. Because that's one of the things, don't trust your memory. Like sometimes you're like, where's my phone? And you have it in your hand. Or like, I can't remember where I put my keys. And it's like, you don't want to be doing that with your business, with your finance, with your relationships, with your health. You don't want to be risking all that on maybe you can remember it and maybe you can't. So put it in your journal. That was one of the first things I did that really started opening my eyes up, because it started setting goals, and I started saying, wow, how do you started researching, you started learning, you started changing, you started adapting, and then you have a place to go, and you can also go back and see where you were as well. And the other thing that kind of came with that was the whole reading thing. I started reading books. In high school, I didn't read. I didn't like to read. It was a chore. It was a job. I went to public school, and they kind of beat the love out of learning out of you. At least they did in my school. And they don't tell you how valuable it is. They gave you a bunch of really boring books and said, hey, tell us what you think this is about. And if your idea of what it was about didn't match up with theirs, it was incorrect, and they gave you that grade. And learning and finding out that you could read whatever you wanted to, and anyone who did anything successful, anyone who did anything wrote it down in a book. George Washington, Abraham Lincoln, Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, whoever your idol is, Oprah, Serena Williams, Michael Jordan, anyone who's your idol or anyone who was successful and became really good at what they did, they wrote a book or they had it in a book. And most of, like the internet, anyone can go on Wikipedia and start writing, and anyone can put up a vlog or a blog, but not everyone's going to write a book and have it published. When you start having books, now it shows that they're serious and that they must know something. And they're easy to sift through, and you can go back and check them out. Tai Lopez, Jim Rohn, they were like, hey, successful people read. Rich people read. And it was like, wow, I never thought of that. They didn't tell you that in school. They didn't tell you what you could actually get. They didn't tell you that one book could make you $1 million. They never said that. One book could help you start a company. One book could save your life. It could save the environment. They never told you that in high school and in middle school and elementary. They just said, hey, here's a book, Tale of Two Cities, and if you don't like it, too bad. Because they had to teach you how to read and then how to analyze. But they never really taught you that you don't have to read a book front to back. You don't have to do it that way. You can skip around. You can check it out. You can break it open. You can start 7 books at once and then just fly around and slide back and forth. And it's like we're starting to grow a pretty substantial library now. And that was something that Casey and I did when we first had the businesses. We'd be riding around in the truck doing estimates, and we'd go to the library. We'd grab all these books, the big stack of books, and I would just read to him in the truck out loud. And we read everything from Freakonomics to A Brief History of Time. We read, dictionaries, encyclopedias, like Finance for Dummies. We read everything. And that started changing our lives as well, finding out how things work. That was what Jim Rohn said. One of the things that will change your life the most is finding out how things work. It's like if you want a lot of money, you got to find out about money. If you don't know anything about it, then hey, you're going to be in trouble. Good luck finding something where you don't know where to start looking, what to do, how to do it, when to, how to make it through a winter, how to do all these things. They put it in a book, and they're easy to read, and it's free. There's a library in every single town pretty much. And if you live there, you just go get a library card, and then you walk in, and you get to walk out with the knowledge. You get it for free. For free. You can't do much easier than free. The only thing they won't do is bring it to your house. You got to actually go get it. But only 3% of the population on average has a library card, and most of them are kids because they have to have it for school. What does that tell you? Read, read, read. That changed my life completely. I became a reader, and it was like, wow, there's an entire world out there of knowledge and about all this other, once you gather all that, you have a base. You gotta have something to pull from. You're like, oh, well, I read this one time, and now you can reach in, pull something out of your back pocket, and if you read something good, put it in your journal so you don't have to remember it. And you can go back and you can learn it. You can reread it. Book's a solid copy. If the power goes out, or your book or your cell phone dies, you still have your book. You may want to check that out, and I'll leave a list of books that I think that are really good. You guys can go down and check them out. Some kind of pivotal books for me, I'll leave in the description below. I think the next thing that was a really big kind of, pardon the pun, but a wake-up call was getting up early. I used to sleep in. I used to get up at like 8 or like 7:30 or whatever, and now it's like I get up early every morning pretty much, unless I'm really beat or unless there's a good reason. Most of the time I like 4:30 or so. My gym opens at 5, so I get up and I go to the gym. And those actually are the next 2 points, and we'll stick those 2 together. But waking up early, you won't believe what you can do in an extra 2 hours of the day. If you're used to getting up at 6, get up at 5:30. Because there is an entire world that most people don't get to experience early in the morning. It's like whenever you go on a trip and you leave early in the morning, there's nobody on the road. That is the same thing with the amount of people that get up early. People who get up early can change the world massively because you just added a ton of time onto your day, a ton of time. Dad's in here normally 5 o'clock, 5:30 every day. And the amount that he can get done because of that extra jump on everybody. We have clients coming in all the time during the day, and it slows them down. You got to talk to them, says, hey, what's going on? They catch up, shows them their stuff, brings in their amounts, what they need done, and that slows them down a little bit. But early in the morning, there's nobody here, and you can hammer and get it done. Plus, you don't have to eat into your normal business hours and time in order to get things done, and you don't have to eat into your family time, and you're adding more into the day because you really don't need that much sleep. It's like I only had about 6 hours of sleep last night. It's like I feel fine. Of course, I look a little red and tired just because long day yesterday, but it's like ready to roll and ready to put in another 16-hour day and let's get it done. And getting up early was kind of like is a discipline, and working out was a discipline, and those 2 things kind of build this confidence, and they build this kind of mentality. It's like, well, if you add one discipline, it builds. You start waking up early, and you start getting the books, and you start keeping your journal, and you start eating an apple a day, and you start working out, you start feeling good, you start seeing progress. And one of the things that working out it was visible progress all the time. Keep your body strong because this is the vehicle that has to carry you around for the rest of your life. And it's like if you don't take care of this, as vital as it is, you probably won't take care of your finance. You probably won't take care of your relationships. And that was one of the things that working out did, and getting up early also did, as to disciplines, was if you can't take care of the small disciplines in your life, you're not going to be able to take care of the big ones. And that was another thing that Jim Rohn said. And he was one of my favorite business and personal development philosophers, along with like Les Brown and whatnot. But Jim Rohn was one of the people that we got on listening to in the beginning when Casey and I were first starting all this stuff, and those things really changed how we did business and how we saw ourselves. Pretty much, we started our own personal development, started changing, because if you want something you've never had, you have to become someone you've never been. And it was like, wow, that's a great idea. And Jim Rohn said the same thing. He's like, an apple a day, and you won't do the push-ups, you won't walk around the block, you won't collect a journal, and you won't do all this stuff. If you won't even get out of bed, if you can't make yourself get out of bed on time, what makes you think that you're going to have a business? You know, and that was kind of a reality check that came in. It was like, well, hey, guess what? Because, you know, this whole thing started because I saw a Lamborghini online. I really wanted one. And it was like, well, I found out how much they cost, and it was at least $250,000 just to buy it, not even to drive it. That's not even to be able to put it on the road. And it was like, wow, if you want something you've never had, you have to become something you've never been. And it's like, if Lamborghinis were given out to 9-to-5 construction guys, I would have had one already. You have to grow into your shoes, and you have to grow into your goals, and you have to becoming more and totally working out, collecting a journal, reading, and getting up out of bed early in the morning. Those 4 things can at least help you get on the path to what you want. Totally. And if those 4 tips to anyone who's just starting out, I'd say, here's the 4 things that matter the most. Because 1 is your memories and information. Storing memories, information, and ideas and goals and all that. Storing them in here, and you bring it with you everywhere. That's a good discipline, and you're going to start building on that. Waking up early. Get ahead of the game. Get ahead of everybody else. No one else gets out of bed. Nobody gets out of bed at 4 o'clock, 3:30, 4:30 because they're like, hey, you're crazy. No way. But guess what? Normal people don't get out of bed. If you want to be normal, stay in bed. That's how it is. Don't have a journal. Don't work out. Don't read. Watch TV. Waste your money. Waste your time. Don't worry about your relationships. Don't worry about your health. Don't worry about your goals. If you want to be normal, then do all that. If you want to be successful, these 4 things can at least help you start thinking about it, because it'll start building a discipline on top of a discipline on top of a discipline. You know what it's like to run a company? It is stressful. You know what it's like to run 2? It is stressful. You know what it's like to run 3? Well, I'll tell you in a little while. It's like you start getting into that stuff, and then you start getting responsibility, especially if you have kids and stuff. It's going to take a little time. Give yourself some time, but at least start with one of the 4. Either start reading, start keeping a journal, start waking up earlier, start working out, because they're all going to work on your self-confidence. They're all going to work on your disciplines, because every new discipline affects the others. It doesn't take much. Start eating an apple a day. Start caring about your health. One thing can change your entire life, because you'll build. You'll build on it, but also every letdown does the same thing. You take a discipline away, you're like, I don't feel like getting up to the gym. It erodes. If you're not growing, you're shrinking. Push yourself nonstop, and you'll see some amazing results. Guaranteed. The amount of growth that we did in that first year, it was serious growing pains, because our entire lifestyles changed, our entire, where we wanted to be, your self-worth, everything just night and day from when we started this whole thing. And hopefully you guys can get a little bit out of these 4 tips. I got a bunch of work to do. I got to help Dad, so I got to get back to it. I got to hop on the computer again. So leave your comments and thumbs up below. I'll leave a link to some really good videos that I see on YouTube. I'll put those inside the description here. Also, I'll leave a list of the books that I think are really good, where I got my journal, and a bunch of experience and whatnot. I'm going to start putting out some videos about working out and some of the things that I do to kind of wake up and get going and whatnot. Hopefully after everything goes good with this appointment, I'll be back in the gym again. I'll keep doing this kind of stuff periodically. Feel free to hit me up on Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, whatever. And if you guys have any questions about anything at all, let me know. I'd love to see what you have going on. I'd love to see if I can help you. Gotta get back to it. Taylor out. We'll see you guys.